How do you know that the sun is good for you? I know there are only a few people out here, but I want to know, how is it that you know that the sun is good for you? God created it. That's number one. Number two, you know how in the world you know the sun is good for you? There was a little old lady that said something. She said that invalids too often deprive themselves of sunlight. This is one of nature's most healing agents. It is a very simple, therefore not a fashionable remedy to enjoy the rays of God's sunlight and beautify our homes with its presence. And the third reason why you know that sunlight is good for you is because research actually validates such. The journal called Nutrients, and the title of the article actually is Immunologic Effects of Vitamin D on Human Health and Disease. This thing goes into detail as to how vitamin D is good for you. If you don't get enough sun, guess what you don't have? You don't have enough vitamin D. And if you don't have enough vitamin D, what happens? I'm just gonna go, you've heard of that song, Head and Shoulders, Knees and Toes? Don't get up and sing it, okay? But the thing is, I just want you to think of head, shoulders, knees, and toes, okay? From your head, you actually increase the risk of schizophrenia if you don't get enough sun exposure. Not only that, but anybody ever heard of major depressive disorder? Guess what? Vitamin D deficiency can be linked to both of those. Now let's go to your chest, okay? Asthma, tuberculosis, respiratory infection. They are even connecting it to COVID-19. Let's keep going. What's up here? Your heart, hypertension, okay? Cardiac issues. Let's keep going down. How about your legs? Anybody ever heard of rickets? Yeah, and sadly it's still present. See, and the reason why it's still present is because even though the sun is still out in the sky, guess what? We've become so sophisticated, we've become so modern that what do? We make sure that during the heat of the summer, we make sure everything is nice and cool inside our houses, and we stay inside. We stay away from the sun, and because we're staying away from the sun, we're killing ourselves. I'm not finished as far as what happens. Muscle weakness. Along with muscle weakness, people have all kinds of autoimmune diseases and conditions. And I mean, they have several different types of cancers that are associated with low level vitamin D. All right, now, so what do? Do you just get outside and do you just grab some Vaseline, lather up, and go sit out in the sun and bake? No, you don't do that, okay? It is important for you to get 600 international units on a daily basis. How do you go about getting 600 international units on a daily basis? One thing that you can do is you can take vitamin D3. It's a pill form, okay? And the thing is, if you take vitamin D3, I need to say, well, first of all, let me say this. Make sure you're consulting with your physician, primary care provider. Don't take my word for it, okay? Talk with your primary care provider. More than likely, that primary care provider is going to tell you that you do need to take supplements, because the vast majority of people are vitamin D deficient, okay? If you do take vitamin D3, you're probably the provider's going to probably tell you to take it every single day. Here's another thing that you need to do. Direct sun exposure. Now, once again, you don't want to be just out in the sun without two other things. Number one, you want to make sure you have a good diet. Reason why you want to make sure you have a good diet is because if you have a high-fat diet, guess what's going on in your system? A whole lot of toxins, and that sun is going to interact with those toxins, and it's going to mess you up. You hear of people having cancers, skin cancers and everything. It's because more than likely, it's because of poor diet, poor lifestyle, and getting out in the sun. So make sure that you have a good diet. What does a good diet look like? Let's just say this. Make sure that half of your plate looks like the rainbow. And I'm not talking about red meat, white meat, light meat, dark meat. I am talking about plenty of fruits and vegetables. Somebody say amen. Let the folk outside hear amen, okay? All right, make sure at least half of your plate fruits and vegetables. Okay? Another thing, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. And what am I talking about hydrating with, brothers and sisters? There we go. There we go. And then when you get outside, now this is the very last thing. We're about to wrap this thing up. How do you know how much sun you need? I'm going to make it simple for you. The lighter you are, the less you need. Okay? If you're like paper white, you probably only need like 5 minutes. Okay? The darker it goes, the more you need. No more than 50 minutes of sun during the broad daylight. Like when the midday sun is out, you don't need any more than an hour's worth of sun. But the thing is, you do need to get out in the sun. Take care of yourself. Instead of running around telling folk, oh, go get a mask, go get a mask, get your mask on. Tell folk, get your sun on. Amen? Let's take good care of ourselves, and let's take good care of ourselves with what God has given us. Blessings.